What do you think the Bears should do as it pertains to Justin Fields? What's the move for Justin Fields, with or without him?
Uh, get one of these elite collegiate wide receivers that are available in the first round of the draft. And I think that we should be able to get a second round pick somehow, so we could target. Well, the second first round pick that we have, it's got to be edge rusher. Okay, then second and third rounds, if we end up with a second round, depending on whatever move we make, target whoever the best interior offensive lineman is in the draft, or one of the top three. Third round, we get one of the better interior off. Like we have to build depth on the interior offensive line, and those spots are cheap. It's not going to cost you that much, and we just have to start building depth because Nate Davis ain't doing it. Tevin Jenkins, you don't know if he's going to be healthy or not healthy. You have no clue, and we need a new center. So we drafted right tackle last year. We're not going to do that. I'm not sold on Braxton Jones on the left tackle, but I think they are. So that's where I think they're going to go. If you have a chance to draft one of these elite left tackles, like a Joe Alt, maybe you want to go there and target interior offensive line in the second and third rounds, and then sign an edge rusher. But I think the cost-effective move, where you get more bang for your buck, is to try to live with Braxton Jones, target an edge rusher in the draft, so that way you don't have to pay a free agent pass rusher $23 million a year, and then build up that interior offensive line.
And they could do all that if they keep Eddie Jackson or let him go. No, I'm asking you. They could do that if they keep him or don't. Because if they sign an edge rusher, they'll have to let him go.
He needs to go.
If they sign a free agent edge rusher, they would have to let go of Eddie Jackson's contract.
No matter what they do, he's got to go.
Okay. Here's my opinion on the Justin Fields thing. And I don't know if I've said this to you. I don't know if I said this to other people. But the situation that I see with Justin Fields actually goes back to that interesting draft where Patrick Mahomes was present.
We're doing this.
Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson. Now, Deshaun Watson, hindsight is 20/20, right? A lot of people, I've said this on Facebook or commented on his stuff, and I said Patrick Mahomes was in the draft and he wasn't even part of the discussion. And people jump at me and saying like, no, I knew Patrick Mahomes was going to do that. And I'm talking to you, Matt Lopez. And, you can't tell me you knew Patrick Mahomes was going to do that. Maybe not, but that's the Bears' job to know that. It was the Bears' job to know that Patrick Mahomes could become that. And if you were going to take a risk on a guy from the ACC, right? So to me, Big 12 ACC football are equivalents when it comes to talent, when it comes to competition, when it comes to strength of schedule. I don't think you're going to get, right? I think if you draft Trevor Lawrence from the ACC, you can draft somebody from the Big 12 because of the strength of schedule, right? This is why Patrick Mahomes can play at Texas Tech, right? And you can get a full understanding of the type of player he will be. But you could come at me how you want to about knowing if Patrick Mahomes was going to be that or not. But what I will say is this: if you're willing to take a risk on Mitch Trubisky with the numbers that he had, and keep him and start him for how many years? How long did he start? How long was
4.
he? 4-year starter.
And the Steelers, right? He couldn't beat out anybody for the starting job. And the Steelers went to the playoffs and had the option to start Mitch Trubisky, and didn't. And that was this year.
And so
it.
Here's my point.
The guy, the guy that kept Mitch Trubisky on the bench the year before he was drafted had to go, was playing in the XFL
Mm-hmm.
a couple years later or whenever that
Mm-hmm.
was. So he couldn't even legit beat out a guy that's not even NFL material.
For the starting spot at UNC.
And we not only drafted him, we traded up for him.
So here's my kicker. If you're gonna give Mitch Trubisky 4 years to start, you need to give Mitch Trubisky. You need to give Justin Fields 4 years to start, because Justin Fields has shown to be more talented, take his college team further, right? I actually don't think their numbers. Did Mitch Trubisky have better numbers with a better offensive line? With better passing options?
I mean, if you're looking at just the numbers, he probably had better passing numbers, just sheer numbers. But
Did he get sacked as much?
no, I don't think so. And
How many hurries did he have?
you're asking me stuff that
I'm
I don't
just
have in
saying
front
that
of me.
I'm not saying that you have to have it in front of you. I'm just saying,
Either way, Mitch Trubisky is proven to not be NFL
what is he
starter
doing?
quality.
What is he doing right now? What is he doing right now?
He should be unemployed. That's what he should be.
He's with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they gave the job to a local guy because
An undrafted free agent.
if I'm gonna struggle like this, I'd rather get the people going. They're gonna show up for this guy. I remember at the beginning of the season, they were chanting "Oh Boy's" name when Mitch was starting.
Do you want to know whose name Chicago Bears fans were chanting during week 17, whenever that was? It was Justin Fields. That's because the guy shows up to play, and regardless of what's going on, as much as they want to, as much as the Chicago media wants to trash Justin Fields, the NFL players voted him as a top 100 player last year, and that's the first time. Do you want to know who wasn't picked for the top 100 amongst NFL players? Mitchell Trubisky.
Mitchell Trubisky.
So
I hear little pitter patters.
So-
Continue.
yeah, we're gonna cut this video because my first round draft pick just woke up.
Probably woke up. We
Probably
think he
woke up.
No. Okay, continue. I don't think he's up. I think he might be up. I don't know. You shut the door. So
Well, he knows how to open it.
our
Anyway.
kid.
So yeah, basically
I think we
build
give,
around him. You don't need. Oh, and if you draft Drake Mays, who I think he's from the same college as Trubisky, I'm done. I'm done,
Well-
and I don't want to hear it.
Well, here's
But-
here's what I would say. Hold on. With the Justin Fields situation, you actually have not seen him in a good situation.
Never,
You have not seen him
never.
set up to be successful. You actually drafted him in a spot during a time where if he were successful, right? If he were successful in a situation, like when I say successful, I mean like playoff bound, 10 game, winning 10, like over 10
Having
games,
a decent
having
defense,
a decent defense,
having
like all
a
of that.
decent offensive line.
Like then
Having
we
weapons.
can say, because here's the thing, I would say this: Mitch Trubisky was brought into a situation that was set up to be successful. It was brought. Think about the defense that the Bears had during the beginning of Mitch Trubisky's tenure. They couldn't score the ball.
After that,
Khalil Mack,
for
you had Eddie Jackson.
in 2018, he did well in his first 8 games. Then tape got around.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you're averaging 18 points a game from there on out for the next 3.5 years. Those are facts. Those are numbers. Okay.
So I think if you set Justin Fields up in a good situation and he produces the way he has produced, then you move on. Then you move on from him.
And we
But
don't need to
you
make
haven't done
that
that.
decision for another 2 seasons.
No.
I think we at the beginning of 2026, or better yet, next May, we have to make a decision on whether we're keeping him for his 5th year. And for everybody that's saying that, well, it's a cap situation, we're it's just gonna cost too much money to keep him for the next 2 years. That's not true. The difference between Justin Fields and Caleb Williams contracts, right? If you take Caleb Williams at the first pick, that's the most money that a rookie can make. The difference between Justin Fields and Caleb Williams, monetarily, is $16 million over the next 2 years. And you spread that's $8 million a season, which is nothing. So you would be essentially spending your best asset for a $16 million difference. And here's the thing: Caleb Williams has to be so good, that he's worth more than Justin Fields.
Multiple draft picks combined, plus where those guys would have been. So, like, the Marvin Harrison Jr. that we were going to get, the Justin Fields that we got rid of, the edge rusher, where they end up,
whatever we would have gotten, he has to be better than all that combined. And I don't think he's that guy coming from the conference that he played at. And this is what the casual fans that really don't know football and don't watch it have to accept, is that
it's not just a draft pick.
It's not just if he's better than even if he's 10% better than Justin Fields, which I don't think he is.
With all those other assets, is he better than all those other assets? And what's going to come out of that?
He's not, and he won't be. So that's.
But here's the thing: if he gets drafted to Washington, right? Let's say everything works out where Justin Fields stays. They
Cliff Kingsbury gets his guy, because that's the OC from Washington, who was USC's QB coach, etc.
Okay, what if all of that happens and Justin Fields does well? You won't miss him. You won't miss Coach. And
you'll have all those other
people
you'll be set up for the next 2 years on extra draft picks, on a high level draft picks, and all you have to do is hit on them.
I don't know, but also, to be honest, I think the Bears give the Bears fans give the Bears organization exactly what they shouldn't, is their money. They give them we go to the games, we're cold, and we're cheering for this team that ownership and front office is not putting together to actually produce anything that would be worth our dollars. And those tickets are high. It's just, I feel generally in the Chicago sports organization, and I think all organizations are like this, but they want a Super Bowl as cheap as possible, and they're not willing to spend a dime. And I think that's a problem with the Bears. We don't have to talk about that right now, but they don't want to spend money. They don't want to spend the money to keep the players that they can keep, right? To sign the players that they can sign, to actually give the Bears fans hope that there is something at the end of the tunnel. And I think that's what actually makes the Bears fans some of the best fans in football, because they ain't trying to get y'all some wins. They not trying to get you wins because you're gonna show up. You're gonna sell out regardless. You're gonna sell out. You're gonna show up regardless. Boycott their ass, which you're probably not gonna do. But I would. They ain't getting my money, and $15 beers, and nasty food. That's another thing.
All right, we're
Soldier Field. They need to figure out how they
and the $50 parking
and the $50 park. So you mean I gotta pay $50 to park, $15 for beer, and your food is not even as good as at the United Center and at what is it, Mortgage Rate Stadium? What is it, Guaranteed Mortgage, whatever?
Guaranteed Rate.
The Guaranteed Rate Stadium. Like, your food ain't even that good? I go to games for food. I ain't gonna hold you. United Center's food, top notch. That should be an episode. Next segment. Who has the best food in Chicago sports?
Well, we're going to be able to test that theory because the Bulls suck, and those tickets are going to be cheap. So we'll be able to go in there and
they gotta
try it.
For all the fans of Lefty's Logic who don't live in Chicago, go to United Center and eat Sweet Baby Ray's concession. Delicious. Probably some for not even for stadium food. That's some good barbecue. It's some good food. I ain't even gonna hold you. They got Luminati's in there. It's wonderful. I love it.
Well, all right. That's couples therapy, brought to you by Lefty's Logic. We'll see what happens. Peace.
Peace.